We talked when you said early days. You said that you went to not a poshish school, but it wasn't smooth sailing. So what's that? Those early days when you're going into school and stuff like that. What were those days? If you could explain to the viewers.
What, before the chimp?
After the chimp.
After the chimp. Yeah. No, after the chimp changed my life. It changed that was a pivotal turning point of my life. I came from a very good family. My brother and sister were extremely different, and I owe it because I have no regrets about it, but it's because of the chimp experience, because that experience changed me. Childhood trauma is one of the worst kind of traumas that you can get because it sinks, it's absorbed so much easier than later trauma, and obviously affects your life. But from that moment on, my life went haywire. I was chasing danger everywhere I could. I was void of consequence, void of emotion, and I just wanted to be on the edge of death. I know that sounds extreme, but that was really the making for me wanting to join the military and being the best of the best. But really for me, I was at school, I lost interest in school, I didn't see the point of it, and to this day I don't really see the point of it. I've not changed my mind on that one. There's a lot of stuff I learned at school that just is irrelevant. But for me, I lost interest at school, and then I wanted to, it just wasn't high enough adrenaline for me. I was good at my sports and stuff like that, but then I started, pushing the boundaries a bit too far. And that's probably one thing I do regret, because I caused my family a lot of pain and discomfort with that. But yeah, I was doing stupid stuff like stealing stuff from shop and all that kind of stuff, but just not because I needed it, just because it made me feel alive.
So you decided quite early on that you wanted to go down the military route.
Yeah.
I know that you said in your book that you was kind of ridiculed for it. Like a lot of people said, you're not going to do it, waste of time, you'll never do it. How did you deal with that doubt, and what was that like?
Yeah, for me, I made that decision really early, and I've got a 19-year-old boy who still doesn't know what he wants to do, and at 14, I didn't see it at the time, but it was quite profound to be making a decision about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, and that was to join the Royal Marines. But for me, people can take doubt one or two ways. Some people get delivered doubt from someone else, and that absolutely makes them crumble, cripples them, stops them. They stop chasing their dreams. They start believing the doubt expressed from someone else. For me, it works differently. And as soon as I hear that, it gives me more energy to prove them wrong. And I've always been like that. Even to this day, I actually, when I'm thinking about doing a project, business project or whatever, I actually do want someone to say to me, you can't do that. Because it's like a red flag to a bull. But it's just how you frame it. It's the same with so many things. Some people, if you allow that self-doubt to ruin your dreams, you're never going to get anywhere in life. But the thing is, as long as you're passionate enough, as long as you're coming from the heart and not from the head, and your motivation is pure passion for what you believe in, no one can stop you.
What was it about the Marines?
Marines were the best of the best. I wanted to be in the hardest fighting unit. I didn't want to learn a trade. I wanted to be at war every day. And that's something I've changed my view on massively just recently, or not recently, but at that time as a boy, I wanted to learn to be a soldier. I wanted to learn how to shoot weapons. I wanted to learn how to shoot the enemy. I wanted to be in conflict every day. And for me, the Marines were the people that were going to get me there. I saw, I was around about the Falklands wartime, 1982. That's when I was sort of growing up. And that was a big influence on my life. I did see, if you remember 1980 as well, there was the embassy, where the SAS went into the embassy in London, and it was phenomenal. But the thing is, although I knew the special forces were there, I just thought special forces, they're carved in marble on a different planet and bought, they're cut from a different cloth. I just thought I could never achieve that, but what I thought I could, although I doubted myself, I could achieve the Royal Marines, but I knew it was the toughest. And that's what I wanted. For me, it was about the training. I looked at the training, and whose training was the longest, and it was the Royal Marines. So that's, in my head, I thought, well, they must be the best.
First day you go down to Marines, or I don't know if it was the first day, but you go down to Marines and there was a woman who said something to you. I think she sort of says, what do you think you're going to, could you go through that for us?
Yeah, no, that was interesting, because after that, you know, one thing I'll say about my mum, I mean, I put her through hell. And it was all, you know, getting into trouble at school. I ended up on remand, you know, at one point. It was only a couple of weeks, but I ended up on remand. I was unstoppable. I was just causing more and more trouble. And I thought I was definitely going to have a custodial sentence. Thank God I never. But after that point, you know, my mum, her life was falling apart. She, you know, and although that, I'll never forget this, although that was happening, her, you know, her marriage had fallen apart, my dad had left, and she was struggling financially, but she still, although she was going through her own stuff, she knew I needed support, I needed help. And once she knew that I wanted to join the Royal Marines, she absolutely did everything she could to help me on that journey, probably to get rid of me, but it was amazing. And you know, she used to take me to my cross-country events and my athletics events, but one thing she did is she used to take me to Derby, and she used to take me to the careers office. Seemed like it was every week. But yeah, I was in there, and it was interesting because I was so passionate about being a Royal Marines Commando, and I got in there, and there was a Navy officer, female, and she sat me down one day and she said, so let's say you get in the Marines then, what do you want to do once you're in? And I got all the brochures and everything. I can remember opening the book, and there was a picture of this Special Forces soldier. Well, there's a picture of a mini sub, and there was a picture of a combat swimmer, Special Forces combat swimmer, going to the sub. And I went, I want to do that. And she looked at me and she just laughed. And she went, everyone wants to do that. And then she closed the book. So that for me was like, although I still thought, you know, I could never, you know, it was still a dream. That was, although I didn't possibly, you know, I thought the journey was too hard to get to that, you know, it was still something that held a special place in my head, but that was amplified by her saying that I couldn't do it. You know, that seed was then sown. That seed was sown.
What does it take to be a Marine?
It takes, and I say this with tongue in cheek, but it takes an extreme amount of discipline. It takes a lot of motivation. It takes a lot of courage, and it takes, above all, belief. Yeah.